The air still carried disco's shimmer, but the edges were sharper now. Drum machines clicked with mechanical precision, bass lines grew thicker.
Every breath that I take,
Synthesizers began drawing neon outlines around soul's soft
No one else will do.
curves. And yet, the heart stayed human. These weren't just hits. They were declarations, invitations, warnings, celebrations. Let's begin again and go deeper.
I want to
Number 12, Double Dutch Bus by Frankie Smith. A playground chant with a drum machine backbone. Before the bass even settles, you feel the bounce. Not heavy, not dramatic, elastic. The rhythm mimics jump ropes slapping pavement in perfect rotation. There's
Give me a hoe if you got your funky bus.
something childlike in the cadence, but the production is sharp, deliberate. 1981 was a transitional year. Disco's gloss was fading, funk was tightening, early hip-hop was rising in the boroughs. And Frankie Smith, almost casually, bridged all three worlds. The groove is deceptively simple: drum machine, snappy hand claps, a bass line that loops with hypnotic discipline. No orchestral padding, no string section drama, just pocket. And then the language. That playful is slang wasn't just a gimmick, it was rhythmic invention. Each added syllable stretched the groove. On turned consonants into percussion. It made the record active, repeatable, memorable. What's fascinating is how minimal the harmonic structure is. The song doesn't rely on chord changes to create movement. It relies on texture and repetition. That repetition is what made it contagious. Culturally, it arrived at a moment when block parties were shaping a new musical vocabulary. Boomboxes were mobile DJs, streets were sound systems. Double Dutch Bus sounded like it belonged outside. It hit #1 on the R&B chart because it understood accessibility. It didn't demand deep listening. It demanded participation. You don't analyze this record, you join it. And in doing so, it quietly helped lay groundwork for rhythm-forward, chant-driven hip-hop records that would dominate later decades, from sidewalk joy to quiet intimacy. Number 11, Just the Two of Us by Grover Washington Jr. featuring Bill Withers. If Double Dutch Bus was extroverted sunlight, this is lamplight reflected on rain. The drum pattern is clean, crisp rim shots, subtle hi-hats, no swing exaggeration. It feels measured, almost architectural. The bass line sits deep and warm, outlining harmony without stepping forward. It's supportive, never flashy. Grover Washington Jr.'s saxophone tone is key here. Rounded edges, no harsh attack. Each phrase feels like a careful exhale. He leaves space intentionally. Silence becomes emotional punctuation. Then Bill Withers enters. No acrobatics, no unnecessary runs. His phrasing is conversational. The power is in restraint. He leans gently into certain words, make it if we try, giving them gravity without theatricality. The arrangement breathes. Electric piano chords shimmer lightly beneath the surface. Nothing crowds the vocal, everything cooperates. This record climbed high on both pop and R&B charts because it crossed demographic lines without sacrificing soul. Jazz phrasing met R&B storytelling, sophistication met simplicity, but its true legacy lives in domestic spaces. Slow dances in kitchens, quiet car rides, conversations that didn't need raised voices. It's intimacy engineered with discipline, and that discipline makes it timeless, from whispered devotion to emotional combustion. Number 10, Burn Rubber on Me, Why You Wanna Hurt Me, by the Gap Band theatrical opening. Tires screech, someone's leaving. Then the bass detonates. It's aggressive, syncopated, slightly ahead of the beat. That forward push creates urgency. It feels like motion, like pursuit. The drums snap hard, tight snare, punchy kick, no softness in the attack. Charlie Wilson's vocal is elastic. He stretches vowels wide, then snaps back into rhythm. There's frustration in his delivery, but he never loses control of the pocket. The synth accents flash like brake lights in the night. Sharp, bright, fleeting. What makes this record brilliant is emotional contrast. The lyric expresses abandonment and confusion. The groove insists on movement. You're dancing through distress. That duality defined much of early 80s funk. An emotional honesty wrapped in kinetic rhythm. Commercially, it soared to number 1 on the R&B chart. But culturally, it reinforced something deeper. Funk wasn't fading, it was evolving. The production is tighter than late 70s funk. Cleaner, more mechanical. But still human at its core. Pain, metabolized through rhythm. From heartbreak acceleration to confident admiration. Number 9, She's a Bad Mama Jamma by Carl Carlton. Confidence doesn't shout, it stands tall. The record opens with bass that doesn't rush into the room, it walks in. Thick tone, slightly elastic attack. The kind of low end that doesn't vibrate wildly, but settles into the chest. That bass line is the thesis statement. The groove is mid-tempo, but it feels kinetic because of how the rhythm guitar flickers around the edges. Short, clipped scratches. No wasted motion. Every strum intentional. Carl Carlton's vocal sits comfortably above the band. He isn't pleading, he isn't chasing. He's observing, admiring with composure. That's important. The delivery matches the posture of the groove. The hook is repetition by design. She's a bad mama jamma. It loops. Not because it lacks imagination, but because repetition builds identity. Over a groove this steady, repetition becomes affirmation. Notice how the drums never overfill. The pocket remains disciplined. No flashy fills to distract from the central rhythm. What makes this record endure is its balance. It celebrates beauty without exaggeration. It grooves without overcrowding. And culturally, it sits right at the edge of disco's exit and funk's tightening focus. The shine of the late 70s is still present, but the arrangement is leaner, more precise. This isn't dance floor chaos, it's controlled swagger, from admiration to boundaries drawn in silk. Number 8, I Can't Go For That, No Can Do, by Hall & Oates. This is where minimalism becomes authority. The drum machine ticks with mechanical steadiness. No swing, no looseness. It feels almost clinical, and that's deliberate. The bass line loops hypnotically, simple, repetitive, mesmerizing. There's space everywhere in this arrangement. Synth pads hover quietly in the background. Guitar accents appear and vanish quickly. Nothing overstays. Daryl Hall's vocal floats gently over the top. Soft tone, controlled phrasing. But the message is firm. That's the tension. Velvet delivery, steel refusal. What makes this track revolutionary is subtraction. By removing excess instrumentation, the groove becomes psychological. You lean in because there's room to hear every detail. The hi-hat clicks feel closer, the bass slides feel deeper. And this record topped both pop and R&B charts, a rare crossover moment that didn't dilute itself to achieve reach. It also quietly influenced production styles that would dominate mid-80s R&B. Clean drum machines, sparse bass loops, atmospheric synths. This was machine precision with human intention, from refusal to radiant devotion. Number 7, Never Too Much by Luther Vandross. The piano introduces joy before Luther ever sings a word. Bright chords, syncopated rhythm.
I don't want nobody else to ever love me.
The groove is buoyant, almost airborne. Then the bass slides in, not aggressive, not flashy. It supports the piano's optimism. Luther's entrance feels inevitable.
There's not a minute, hour, day, or night that
His tone is rich but controlled. He shapes every syllable with care. Notice how he anticipates certain phrases slightly ahead of the beat, then relaxes into others. That phrasing creates lift. The background vocals are layered meticulously. Luther didn't
You are my shining star, my guiding light, my love fantasy.
just sing this record, he architected it. Harmonies stack in warm cushions behind his lead, never overpowering, always enhancing. The drums are crisp but not hard-edged.
From you is never too much.
Snare snaps lightly. The groove swings subtly, just enough to feel alive without losing polish. Lyrically, it's pure affirmation.
A million days in your heart.
No complication, no drama, just celebration of affection. And that simplicity is strength. When it hit #1 on the R&B chart, it wasn't just a debut. It was a declaration that romantic soul still had grandeur left in it. This record feels like sunlight through open windows. Joy without irony, from radiance to quiet conviction.
Look at your picture just to get me started.
Number 6, Being With You by Smokey Robinson. The tempo settles gently, like a heartbeat at rest. The drums tap softly. The bass hums beneath the surface, steady but restrained. Strings rise in smooth arcs, framing Smokey's voice without crowding it. And that voice, slightly more weathered now, carries earned tenderness. He doesn't oversing, he leans into phrases carefully, allowing emotion to sit in the air. What's powerful here is dynamic control. The arrangement never swells too dramatically. It maintains intimacy from beginning to end. The lyric speaks of love without apology, commitment without public approval. In an era where funk was muscular and electronic textures were rising, this record chose softness, and that softness charted at #1 on R&B. Because vulnerability, when delivered with clarity, resonates across decades. From gentle devotion to unapologetic spectacle.
I don't care what they do.
Number 5, Give It To Me Baby by Rick James. The bass line hits like a strut, thick, funk-forward, slightly aggressive in tone. The kick drum locks tightly with it, creating a groove that feels unstoppable. Rick James doesn't enter quietly. He slides into the pocket with swagger. His vocal bends rhythm intentionally, sometimes pushing ahead, sometimes dragging back. That rhythmic play creates tension. The horns punctuate sharply. Short
I'm so elated. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby.
bursts, no lingering notes. They feel like exclamation points. The arrangement is dense compared to earlier entries in this countdown.
I make you out of your head in the air.
Layers stack confidently. Background vocals respond with attitude. This record ruled the R&B chart for weeks because it understood performance as identity. It isn't introspective, it's bold. Dance floors didn't just move to this record, they reacted to it. From neon energy to controlled tension. Number 4, Watching You by Slave. This record doesn't rush toward you, it studies you first. The bass line is
Looking at the ladies.
hypnotic, circular, deliberate, almost meditative. Played with precision and restraint, it repeats like a thought you can't quite shake. There's no flash in it, no dramatic slides, just pulse. Consistency, control. The drums sit squarely in the pocket, no overplaying, no explosive fills. The groove trusts its own repetition. That trust is powerful. Synthesizers enter carefully, not as decoration, but as atmosphere. They glide across the top like thin layers of mist. The tonal palette feels cooler than earlier funk records in this countdown. More electronic, more streamlined. The vocal delivery is smooth but observant. There's tension in the lyric.
I'm staring at your heart, baby, hoping you do.
Curiosity mixed with caution. Desire wrapped in restraint. What makes Watching You significant is its balance between funk and early electro influence. By 1981, drum machines and
And I'm watching you love.
synthesizers weren't novelties anymore. They were becoming structural elements. Slave understood that. The groove doesn't explode into fireworks. It tightens, it coils, it simmers. That simmering quality made it irresistible to DJs and later to producers looking for sample material. The bass line became a reference point for future generations. This isn't funk trying to overpower the room. It's funk that controls the temperature, from coiled tension to cinematic devotion. Number 3, Endless Love by Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. The piano opens like a curtain rising. Soft chords.
Oh my love.
Spacious pacing. The silence between notes matters as much as the notes themselves. Then the strings enter, gradual, sweeping, controlled.
No one else will do.
Not syrupy, not excessive, just enough to frame the moment. Lionel Richie's voice arrives first, vulnerable, gentle. There's an exposed quality in his tone, as if he's
With you.
confessing rather than performing. Diana Ross follows with authority. Her phrasing is elegant, measured, assured. The contrast between their deliveries creates emotional architecture. That's the genius of this duet. Balance. The tempo is slow, but it never drags. The arrangement builds patiently. Each layer is introduced with care. When the key change finally lifts the song higher, it feels earned. The dynamic control here is masterclass level. Crescendos are precise. Instrumentation swells exactly when the lyric demands it. It topped both pop and R and B charts and earned award recognition, but more importantly, it embedded itself into cultural ritual. Weddings, proms, first dances. The record feels timeless because it leans into classic ballad structure without gimmicks. It trusts melody. It trusts vocal chemistry. Its orchestration serving emotion, from fairy tale romance to grounded truth. Number 2, A Woman Needs Love, Just Like You Do, by Ray Parker Jr. The groove begins smoothly, guitar first, clean tone, slightly funky but understated. The bass rolls underneath like calm water. The drums are steady, no dramatic accents, just reliable foundation. At first listen, it feels like a comfortable slow jam. Relaxed, easy, but the lyric carries weight. Ray Parker Jr. delivers the message with conversational clarity. No anger, no accusation, just truth. Reciprocity matters. That tension between silky groove and pointed message is what makes this record resonate. It educates without preaching. It warns without yelling. Notice how the guitar weaves through the verses. Playful in tone, but precise in timing. It punctuates phrases without interrupting them. Production-wise, this is early 80s R&B at its most refined. Clean mix. A balanced instrumentation. Nothing muddy. Every instrument occupies its own space. It hit number 1 on the R&B chart because it spoke to grown realities. This wasn't teenage romance. This was accountability dressed in velvet. And now, the record that outlasted them all. Number 1, Outstanding by the Gap Band. The bass doesn't punch, it glides, smooth, liquid, effortless. From the first note, the groove feels relaxed but assured. The drums sit slightly behind the beat, creating warmth. That subtle lag makes the entire track feel like it's leaning back comfortably. Charlie Wilson's vocal isn't urgent, it's grateful. He stretches syllables gently, letting the melody breathe. There's joy here, but controlled joy. The arrangement is spacious. Nothing crowds the hook. When the horns rise during the bridge, they don't dominate, they elevate. That elevation is key. Outstanding only reached number 5 on the R&B chart. But charts measure peaks. This record measures longevity. Its structure is deceptively simple. Verse, chorus, groove, repeat. But the repetition never grows stale because the pocket is so deep. Listen to the bass closely. It doesn't overplay. It doesn't wander. It holds steady like a foundation poured perfectly level. That steadiness makes the hook chantable, portable, intergenerational. Cookouts, weddings, family reunions. The moment that bass line drops, shoulders loosen, smiles appear. It's celebration without ego, appreciation without complication. And that simplicity is why it survives. While other records from 1981 marked trends, Outstanding became ritual. It doesn't belong to a single year. It belongs to rooms filled with people who need one moment of shared groove.